I kind of had a feeling of wanting to do something else and try something else because I've been immersed in this sector for a long time. And so I took a bit of time out. If I wasn't a consultant or in recruitment, I would have loved to have been an true to yourself. I think that's really important. Don't follow the crowd. I started in the 90s.
There are a lot of social media influencers who are creating a negative propaganda about UK.
What has happened is that universities in so they are office block, they are teaching the university's programs, but it's not the full.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Pine Talks, where we empower future by inspiring knowledge and guiding value. Our today's guest is Stefanie Walton, Director of Recruitment and Admissions at University of East London. Stefanie is a dynamic leader responsible for driving UEL student recruitment strategy, aligning it directly with their ambitious Vision 2028 strategic framework and its goals for growth and financial sustainability. She leads a global dispersed team and has been instrumental in helping UEL achieve the title of University of the Year for Teaching Quality 2025. Having successfully transitioned from a career in international sales and consulting into senior academic leadership, Stephanie has a unique perspective on career education and career evolution, I must say. We'll be diving into her journey and getting invaluable advice for any student or professional looking to make their next big move. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, but thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here in Delhi today, and India is one of my favourite places anywhere in the world to visit and to work and to relax. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, what do you like the most about India?
The people, of course. The food is a close second, and the culture. I find a lot of synergy between Indian people and British people. A lot of our values are the same around ambition, around strong work ethic, and around having fun and family. So I feel very at home in India, thankfully.
Thank you so much for your kind words for India.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure the introduction that I gave you will not do justice to the achievements and the stars that you have on your belt.
Oh, well,
so can you just give us more introduction about your background? How did you start? What was your early career like? And how did you reach to this pivotal role of student recruitment director at University of East London?
Happy to share my story. So I started in the 1990s. I am that old. So the early 1990s, I was searching for something that would give me the freedom to operate, the ability to manage my own time, and the ability to learn and create an income for myself. And I luckily found recruitment. And at that stage, it was actually in headhunting and executive search, really recruiting people and executives eventually for the private sector.
Wow.
So I was involved for over 20 years in executive search, and I ran my own consultancy. But the journey wasn't easy. So what I look back on now with, I think, pride and a whole handful of luck as well. It was the people that I met along the way in my early career, my network that helped me realise my dreams and ambitions, which was to be successful. And success for me was defined by being independent, being able to make choices around my career, being able to, support my family. And I was very lucky at that stage that actually recruitment had its foundation in sales and customer service. And it was a very people-centric industry. And to be able to understand people and the psychology behind somebody studying really hard at university and then having aspirations for a certain career path, and then helping them mobilize their career ambitions by connecting them with employers.
Wow.
Was extremely satisfying. And there was many times in my career over those 20 and 25 years actually that I placed people in roles over and over many times as their career developed.
Right.
They would reach a certain point in their career and then they would come back to me and say, Stefanie, I'm looking for the next role, or I'm looking for a more senior position. And so I was able to follow those people through in their careers, and eventually they became my clients. So they were then the hiring managers, or they were directors or C-level that attained like seniority in their professions. And I think that was extremely satisfying. And what I learned from that was I was just very good at connecting with people and also following up and keeping long-term relationships. And I do believe whatever industry or sector you go and work in any country, in any market, and in any sector, the skills that you have around people, relationships in the workplace, and your network,
Right.
to demonstrate that you can be part of a collaborative team, that you can get things done, that your word is your action, so that when you say you will do something, you do that. I think those are the things that served me certainly well in my commercial career. I found it, like I said, very fulfilling because it was all about people, and it was all about helping and supporting people. And then I reached a stage where I'd been running my own agency for 15 years and I was raising a family at the same time. So I was a working mother, and I'm a huge advocate for women in the workplace. Because I just think, women, although fathers are very active now, I'm not disputing that. Fathers are very active in their children's upbringings, but children, when they're small, do want their mum. So there's a lot of pressure on working mums, and I recognise that. And also, we all have obligations to, perhaps older family members, parents. So there's a lot of juggling going on. So I got to a stage in my early 40s and I thought to myself, is this sustainable for me? I kind of had a feeling of wanting to do something else and try something else because I've been immersed in this sector for a long time. And so I took a bit of time out. I took a year out to be with my family. And somebody came to me, one of my network, and said, Steph, they have recruiters in universities. And this was news to me. They have, admissions and recruitment teams that actually help and support students access university. And I didn't know that. That was really news to me. And I connected with a university in the UK, and that connection came because my sister was studying there. And I met the managing director of the recruitment and admissions team at the time there. And it was a meeting of minds, luckily, because he wanted to put a customer service, student-focused culture into the recruitment and admissions team of the university. And he was looking for somebody from the commercial sector to do that. So I found a second career within universities, and I've been happily working in the sector for the last 7 years. It has really played to my skills. So I feel very lucky now to be able to not help people get jobs, but help support students access the right destination, the right university, and the right program for them. So for me, it's got the commercial element to it, because we have to be a sustainable university. And so we have to find and identify the right students for our courses. But it comes with a social obligation to make sure that students have the right information to enable them to succeed. So, yes, I feel very lucky.
Wow. So from hunting heads to being hunted.
Yes.
And so a lot of students, a lot of professionals, when they change lanes, when they move from one sector to the another sector, a lot of them give up because it's not that easy to recalibrate themselves and get adjusted to the new reality. How did you manage that transition?
Yes.
Because earlier you were working as a recruiter when you were you were connected with a lot of people. It was more
Absolutely.
of a relationship building.
Mm.
Now it's more about, customer centric and student centric approach that you developed. So how did that transition happen?
Yes. Well, I think the actual philosophy behind the job roles is the same. So I believe, like I said earlier, however you show up in whatever sector, you have to work on your network. You have to be somebody that connects with other
Right.
either team members or other departments, and you have to make it your business to help people, because that then translates back to you in your job. So the transition came for me learning about the sector, about education, about the choices that students have to make, about the challenges that are presented to students when they're looking for university. And they differ from somebody who's trying to make a definite change in their career. But the approach is the same. We have to consider people as humans. We have to understand their drivers. What is it they're trying to achieve? And how can we help them do that? So the transition for me came around, again, I had to start from the beginning with my network in the sector. So again, attending conferences, reaching out to people at events, connecting people. I find LinkedIn an extremely helpful platform where professionals are happy to help. And that then builds your knowledge around what's happening in the sector that you're working in. And you can very quickly gain knowledge and reputation by reaching out to the right people. And on the whole, I found most colleagues and my peer group in the sector extremely helpful to enable my transition to happen. And I had a really great leader in my first role in a university who was very open to sharing all his knowledge and information. And he's happily now transferred to Australia, and he's a vice president of a university in Australia, and we're still very, very connected. So again, it's about your network and making it your business to go and find out and be curious. And I think when it comes to students, the same is true for students, to be curious about the courses that you may consider as an option for yourself, along with the type of employment that long term you're trying to gain by being educated. So being curious around the information that's available to you and the people that can connect you in the sector.
Wow. I personally feel that your first manager is one of the most important person in your career, because the ethics, the learning that you grasp from them, it stays with you forever.
Yes.
So talking about your transition from consulting
Yes.
to recruitment,
Yes.
and so what two or three skills to be precise, did you carry from the first job that you had that is helping you today in this leadership role at UEL?
So I think in terms of the skills that I have developed and retained throughout my career, I think the number one thing is what I call stakeholder management. So anybody that has a dependency on me for the work that I do, whether that's internally or externally with clients and customers, and in this case now students, is to ensure that I am visible and available, and that the key messages or the work streams that I'm working on are transparent. So I think stakeholders, whatever shape or form they look like, that management of those stakeholders is really important. I think the second thing is the ability to translate strategy into operational work. So making sure that I understand whatever company, and even when I was running my own consultancy, what is the big overarching strategy we're trying to achieve, and how then do we translate that into actionable work. And the third thing would be the relentless pursuit of delivering the goals.
The grit.
Yes, the grit, and it's being the relentless, wanting to be the best, wanting to be number one, wanting to make sure we secure either the right destination for that student, or when I was working in consultancy, that my candidate secured that job. It's the relentless pursuit of that to ensure that we are showing up for our customers, or in my case now, showing up for my university to make sure that the schools and the portfolio that they offer is resonating with students, and students are applying and succeeding through the admissions process to attain a place at our university. So I think those three things are key, and they've been a thread throughout my career.
Wow. I mean, these three are the most important skills I personally feel. And apart from that, there's one more thing, one more question that I wanted to ask you. I have met a lot of students,
Sure.
and students normally do not understand, or maybe it's too early for them to understand how the university operates in the core level, at the core level,
Yes.
to be precise.
Yes.
So a lot of students are facing, not just with UEL, but with a lot of universities in UK, challenges with refunds, challenges with a lot of getting offer timely from the university, getting their CAS issued timely, getting a response for the pre-CAS interview that they appear for. I'm sure the executive level, I mean the junior level, they have a go-to person to ask questions to, or to, to throw the ball, I mean pass the ball to a different court. How do you handle conflicts like this?
Right.
At the leadership level, at the
Yes.
director level?
Yes.
So what's your process of problem assessment when there is a critical problem, or when there is a conflict with the student? Like, for example, there are a lot of social media influencers who are creating a negative propaganda about UK market as such. So what's your take on that? How do you see these kind of things, and how would you counter them as a
Yes.
leader?
So I think it's really important, first of all, to for me to ensure that the students are getting the right advice and counsel. Anybody can put anything out on social media, so it's really important when students and families and supporters are researching the destinations and the universities that they may want to shortlist in their wish list, is really do the research really well and obtain information from credible sources.
Right.
So that there's a lot of sources out there, and anybody, like I said, can open up an Instagram account or a Facebook account and cite information that's not backed up by data. So it'd be really important to get your research from credible sources. For me, in terms of when complaints come through, or if there are issues with students accessing university, my overarching objective is, and my team all know this in the university, is that if it's the right thing to do for the student, then we must do that.
True.
Even if it's difficult for us. And we're working in a climate where we have obligations around issuing visas to students. So we are responsible and reportable to the UK Home Office. So we have an obligation to make sure our compliance journey is upheld, not just for the university, but for the students. So making sure the way that a student accesses our university courses is really transparent and clear. And it means working with education partners globally who have the same beliefs and values as UEL, and will give students the right information. And even sometimes that may mean that University of East London is not the right destination for that student. I would expect that student to get the right counsel and be given the right advice, or at least be given the offer to make their own decision and empower the student to make the choice. And for me, the other thing that my team know is that we are student first, and we are an enterprising, very ambitious university, which is why I love working at UEL, because we're always looking to see how we do things differently, how we can be innovators and trailblazers in the sector, and make it a very exciting and dynamic learning environment for students to come to. But that's not at the expense of giving the wrong information or advice to students, and certainly not at the expense of any compliance, because we want to make sure that students have the right information, can make the right choice for them, because ultimately our goal is that education is the vehicle to a great career. So whether that's in the world of work or entrepreneurship, University of East London, our mission is to ensure that our careers guarantee that we give to students is realised. And so that means at the very start of the journey, from the point of inquiry, that the customer service level is there to give the students what they need in terms of the information. And I would just really emphasize to students that be careful on social media, make sure the sources that you're reading are correct. and really go to the proper recognised channels. And I would encourage students to start with the university website.
True. So if you're looking for credible information, go to University of East London's website, that's uel.ac.uk,
Yeah.
or you can contact us on our toll-free number, that's 1-800-309-PINE. Coming back to your journey.
Sure.
So you spent time as a freelance consultant and as an interim director for some time.
Yes.
How did you assess the personal risk of taking a consulting role? And what critical lessons did you learn during that period that you still apply today?
So yes, I've been an employed member of staff. I've ran my own consultancy as a self-employed business owner. You're right, I was a freelance interim director. I'm now a permanent director at UEL. The freelance and interim route was very interesting because, again, recognizing that, the journey in your career is not linear.
Right.
There will be ways of getting from A to Z, and it will be, in a way that you probably haven't mapped out at the beginning of your career. And often graduates hope to realize that their absolute dream job at the very start of their career, and that's not always attainable because competition is tough, right? And employers have a process and a system that actually is against the candidate, because a lot of the interview processes nowadays are AI generated. And particularly for the big organizations, the FTSE 100 companies, they have a system where thousands of graduates are applying for the same job. So building the skills within our students at UEL is really important. And I'll come on to that in a moment. But where I kind of made the decision to go into consulting on an interim basis in the education sector, I'd reached a point after 5 years with another university where I recognised that actually there was no more impact that I could give in that role. And just the structure of how the university was structured and their vision didn't really align with my career goals for the next 5 years. So I made a decision to leave, and I then accessed a headhunter that was working in the education space. So she did what I did for 25 years with other people, is counselled me in terms of what it was I was trying to achieve. Yes, she connected me with UEL. And there was a very, very clear objective when I arrived at UEL, which I had to be much more visible in terms of deliverables at the start. So when you're an interim consultant coming in at a senior level, you have to demonstrate impacts very quickly. With people and with processes and results. And the same is true for people starting out in their career. You're starting out, you have to make impact, you have to be visible, you have to show up, and you have to make sure the employer sees the value in you being there, because every organisation is there to ensure they're sustainable, and you're part of that process. So what I learned from being a freelancer is I had to really hone my skills in around relationships, understand university life. It differs in every university. And the biggest challenge is the network. Universities are big places. They employ thousands of people. And you have to learn who your connectors are, who the people are that you need to work with, and build a very strong relationship very quickly. And although hybrid working is good, working from home has its benefits. And I think that's one of the big benefits of COVID. We all learned to work online. We all learned to be connected globally on Teams and Zoom and all those other platforms, but nothing replaces real life, in-person meetings, relationship building, and working together as a team in the office, because it's through that connection with people in real life that you can really get things done. So that's what I did, and yes, and it worked out well. I've managed to attain a permanent position at UEL, and I'm thrilled to do so.
I'm sure you did your role brilliantly. That now you're in the permanent position, and I can understand that feeling completely when you feel a little shackled, given the kind of role you are in, and you want to do a lot more,
Hmm.
and then the role defines you or limits you to a certain level that this is the line you can't cross.
Hmm.
And I think I have also been through that kind of phase,
Yeah.
and that's what put me in a position wherein I thought that I should start something different,
Yes.
and that's where Pine Talks came into existence. So, talking about your journey and talking about the expertise and the knowledge that you have,
Hmm.
I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
So this question is for the student. So for a student starting out, would you advise them to become a broad generalist or a specialist in a niche area, and why?
Okay. I mean, my view is when you're certainly considering your education, is to keep it um, well, I wouldn't say general, but
Mhm.
make sure that it's broad enough in terms of the program that you're studying, particularly at undergraduate level, before you move into specialism. Because when you're young and just starting out in your journey, you really are still learning about yourself and the skills that you have and possess that can be really capitalized on. And all throughout my career, I've worked in teams, and that is the joy of a team, is that everybody brings something different to the team. And I think it's really important to understand really where you excel as an individual.
Mhm.
And in my team, we have people who are very in the detail, process driven, maybe data experts who
Mhm.
are not so good at potentially maybe face to face meetings and relationship building. We've got other people who are great at producing events and running events for students. And we've got other people who are really great at the admissions process, which is very, very analytical,
Right.
looking at applications and making life-changing decisions for students, and that requires different skill sets.
Right.
So I would recommend that people listening to the podcast really think about the future, but keep it as broad as possible at this stage, and then you can specialize later. And once you graduate, I think it's also important to have a goal in mind in terms of the type of job that you're trying to attain,
Mhm.
but recognize that that might be something that comes in the second appointment or the third appointment.
Right.
What's really, I guess, critical is to get in with the right organization. And specifically, you mentioned earlier, surround yourself with the right people and the right leader.
Mhm.
And I always, throughout my career, have had a good instinct when I've gone into an organization or sat in front of somebody that I was being interviewed by. Do I fit in here?
Mhm.
Am I aligned to the beliefs and values of this organization? Can I make an impact? And, will my work and my skills be developed here? And
Mhm.
those are the questions you've got to ask yourself. And I think that is true for the majority of students and courses, with the exception of things like medicine, where it's very specific in
Mhm.
terms of the route through education and the outcome at the other end. I think what's really popular at the moment is combined courses.
Right.
So where you've got like maybe business with accounting, and we've got dual degrees where students can bring in different elements of different areas, which makes employability a little bit more open
True.
once you graduate. So that would be my advice for
Mhm.
certainly for younger students who are just starting out in their higher education journey.
Wow. A lot of students confuse stiffness for seriousness,
Hmm.
and that puts them a few years behind compared to the other students who are flexible
Yeah.
or professionals who are flexible.
Yes.
So again, it's like be flexible and serious, not stiff.
Yes.
So be open to new ideas.
Yes.
And someone rightly said, Jack of all trades, master of none
Yep.
is oftentimes better than master of one.
Of one. And particularly because the job market's evolving and the skills that employers are requiring is changing every year or so now. And with the impact that AI is having on jobs, that means the future is going to change. How we work
Mhm.
today is not going to be the same in 2, 5, 10 years' time.
Mhm.
So you're right, being flexible is really important. Also, the emphasis from what I've seen for students that are successful is students that access the services that are available and make it their business to go and connect with the careers service, connect with their academics, reach out and attend the events that are happening around the campus to build their network are the students that actually get the most success, because the services are all there to help and support students. But if you're not somebody that's going to reach out, you will miss out on those opportunities. So even if it's uncomfortable for you, you should really make it a priority, not just to be academically able in the lecture rooms and to meet all your deadlines and hand in all your assignments on time to a high standard. You should also make it your business to find out within the university what else is on offer to help and support me whilst I'm studying and post-graduation, because those are the students that gain the most success and have built more skills whilst they are studying, and this is what employers are looking for.
This is what employers are looking for.
Yes.
And talking about AI, I still remember 2 years back, I was talking to Dr. David Tan.
Oh, yes.
And it was during an event in Hyderabad. And I asked him a question that, how do you think AI is going to replace human beings? And he had a very simple but the best answer I've ever heard. Like, no, because artificial intelligence has the term artificial in it.
Yes.
It's not natural.
That's right.
It's not something that humans can think of. It's something that humans have already thought of.
Yes.
And it's a compilation of all the thoughts that humans had till date.
Yeah.
And it keeps on adding to its inventory.
Yes.
It's just a kind of creative approach towards the ideas that we have already manifested.
Correct.
In a way. And talking about UEL, so I have a lot of questions about UEL.
Yes,
Okay,
please
so
do.
when it comes to the employability strategy, how does UEL fit in? Because in 2022, I guess, yes, 2022, UEL won the Employability Strategy Award, followed by the next year again. So what exactly is employability strategy from UEL's perspective? And how did the term career-led university came into existence for UEL?
Yes, good question. So we are the careers first university. So everything we do within the university, all of our departments, all our academic schools, and our Vice Chancellor's office is to ensure that students have the education that they want and need to enable them to have the career goals and outcomes that they desire. So everything that we do is around supporting students to achieve their goals for their careers, whether that's in the world of work, like I said earlier, or if they have the desire to open their own business. And we are ranked 4th in the UK for supporting entrepreneurship and graduate-led business startups. So we have the support and infrastructure available. And you mentioned Dr. David Tan, our Dean of our Architecture, Engineering, Computing School. He has help support thousands of students through the school to become academically able and have the success they want with their degrees, whether it's at undergraduate level or at postgraduate, but also has helped connect those students with industry, as all our deans have. UEL works with over 4,000 industry partners, and how we have ensured that we are the careers first university is that we give all of our students a careers guarantee. So that is the main reason why students choose to study at UEL, is that we guarantee that students have access to industry. We guarantee that students have embedded into every single course employability and careers focused topics. We bring in people from industry into all of our courses, into our classrooms. We ensure that access to placements and graduate schemes is available to our students to apply and be successful in. And one of the biggest differentiators between other universities and UEL is our practice-based learning. So we have emulated industry within our facilities. So students really get to experience industry on the campus. And I think that's truly one of the differentiators when it comes to students then competing for jobs, because with paid employment, experience, placements, and our practice-based learning while students are on their course, that then helps build a CV that employers will shortlist and want students to apply for their positions. So that is really the proposition, and that is the message that goes out to all students. If you want to invest in your education, you're investing really in your future career. So you must choose a university that will support that. And we were really proud this year to win University of the Year for teaching quality. You said that at the beginning of the podcast.
Congratulations for that.
Prateek, yes, so we're very proud of that because what that means is, and that is different in other universities, we are what I term a teaching intensive university. So our academic colleagues and our professors are there purely to teach the students and make sure they are experts in their field on their course by the time they leave. Research does happen. Research is a big part of our university as well. But the main obligation for our schools is to ensure that teaching experience is world class, and that students have access to the employers and the industry experience that they need to be able to be successful when they leave UEL.
Wow. I think it's imperative. It's important
Yes.
to have these kind of values. And this reminds me of one more thing. When I was working with UEL, there was this one module which was common across all the courses, which was mental health and professional fitness.
Yes.
I'm sure if I'm saying it right.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm saying it right.
Yes.
So what I realized back then was a lot of students who travel to international locations, especially from India, they go through a little bit of pressure, a little bit of homesick feeling, because there's a transition from one culture to another, from one country to another. They're moving out of their comfort zone. And at UEL, the campus, when I saw the campus, when I saw how the professors are teaching, the classroom setup and everything, how the modules are lined up, how the balance that they have found between classroom teaching and kind of hybrid teaching, and how different labs have been set up.
Yes.
For students, there's an accounting lab, there's a law and finance lab.
Yes.
There's a lot that goes on in the university. So is it all about the psychology, or can people at University of East London see the future?
Yes.
What exactly it
What is it? Yes. So mental wealth and professional fitness is a module that is embedded into all of UEL's courses. And the reason that that was developed and then executed into all of our courses was that the university realised that academic rigour alone is not enough to secure a job. Employers expect graduates to be experts in their field, in their topic, if they've studied a programme for 3 years or they've specialised at postgraduate master's level. They expect them to have that knowledge. What wasn't so apparent was students building resilience and skills personally to help them through university life and then become very attractive to employers. So yes, it was recognised that students have a transition coming in over to the UK, and the home students in the UK also have the same transition. They may be moving away from home equally. We have over 160 nationalities represented at UEL in our student cohorts. So we have a very, very extremely diverse student cohort, and it was a priority for the university to make sure that students enrolled and started, but also stayed and were successful, because the worst thing would be for a student to have an ambition to come and study with UEL, and because perhaps they were homesick or didn't establish a network quick enough or didn't know how to access facilities and services to help support them, that they may leave and go home. So it was the intention to have the mental wellness program and professional fitness embedded into the course to build resilience, to build the soft skills necessary to navigate life, actually, not just studies and work, just to navigate life. And that means, looking at all of those, what I talked about earlier, those skills around people, relationship building, knowing how to access and find and identify information for yourself, and really utilize the facilities on campus that helps students be successful. So if students go to the website and just put into our search our mental wellness program, they will see that that's an offering that all of our lecturers and all of our schools on campus focus on in every single program. And we know it translates into great student experience. One of the other accolades that we're very proud of in 2025 is that the National Student Survey, which is sent out to all graduating students. So all graduating students of 2024 were sent the survey across the UK. And in 2025, we got the outcome that we had been voted first in London, first in England, and third overall in the UK.
Wow.
For student experience. So that's the student voice saying what an exceptional experience they had had at UEL. And I think that's the accolade that's most relevant to students who are perhaps doing their research at the moment as to where they want to go and study. If the student voice is really putting testament to their experience and giving that feedback to an independent national survey, we've been really proud of that, because it has shown that the work that the University of East London has done on our content in our programs, our professional wealth and mental fitness program, and then our careers first guarantee, all of those elements with our teaching quality has meant that students have really valued the investment they've made in their education with UEL.
Wow. So talking more about UEL.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the Vision 2028 and how far off are we from achieving that at UEL?
So Vision 2028 was a executive vice chancellor strategy that our Vice Chancellor, Professor Amanda Broderick, had wrote with the executive team to really build big ambition for UEL. We are one of the most diverse and inclusive universities in the UK, and it was really important that we set the student tuition fees at a level that made us accessible to students.
Right.
Because we recognise the immense financial commitment that it takes to study abroad. And we wanted to make sure that those students who have an ambition to go to the UK, and specifically London, could see UEL as an option for them and a destination of choice. So it was really important that with the Vision 2028 that we would become one of the strongest universities internationally for international students, and to reach all our goals in terms of sustainability and research, and making sure that our student channels are strong and sustainable, so that through things like the survey, through the accolades that we've won, that we are really being showcased as the trailblazing university. And I think we are very much on our way to succeeding in all the strategies that were put in place. And I know currently the Vice Chancellor and the executive team are writing our 2040 strategy.
Wow.
Yes. So we're really looking right into the future now of what life might be like for us in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Yeah.
So I'm sure there is going to be an inclusion of AI-based learning in the mental wellness and professional fitness program.
Yes.
And even in there are going to be some changes in the career zone and the career passport aspect as well.
Yes. And actually one of the main objectives of our Vice Chancellor is to look for innovation, not just on campus in our courses, but during the student journey, when the student's making choices as well, so to give more information at a time when a student wants to access that information, not having to wait to speak to somebody at the university, to making sure that our information is accessible at any point. And AI is here to stay, but like we've already talked about, it can't replace people and relationships and having that contact, whether that's in the lecture room with your peer group who are learning with you, your professors, all the services on the university around the campus, and our award-winning societies. We have very, very active societies on campus where students can connect with other students that have similar interests or backgrounds to them. And that all then helps to develop students' resilience and enjoyment on their courses.
Wow. Wow. So there's a lot that's going on, and you have a family, you have work, you worked as a freelancer, you worked as a recruiter.
Yes.
You're traveling across the world, you're handling the global recruitment for UEL.
Yes.
You have a team in US, you have a team in Middle East, you have a team in India, in South Asia, in Pakistan, in Southeast Asia. How do you find time for your family? How do you find time for yourself? What about the work-life balance?
Work-life balance. Well, I think for me, I have always got a lot of joy out of work. I find work very rewarding. I've found always that it's allowed me to well, I'll tell you a saying my father used to say to me, and sadly my dad's passed away now, but he used to say to me, Stephanie, if you don't go to work, you can't go out to play. So that little kind of message from him when I was growing up, because he worked very hard as well, it kind of sat with me, because I wanted to make sure that I could give my daughters, I have 2 daughters, the best start to life that they could have, and that I had the opportunity to say yes to them if they asked me for things that they wanted to have opportunities to go and do. And it's very timely you asked me this, because my eldest daughter's about to move to Australia and start her journey in the world of work in Sydney. And I've raised my daughters to be independent, and now I'm having to live with that choice that she's making to go in and see what the world is like in Australia. So I think in terms of work-life balance, as long as you carve out the time, you have to, I think, put things in your calendar as a working mum. I know my daughters are adults now, but we're a blended family, and my partner has a 6-year-old son, so we have to make time for family. And I've always worked whenever I needed to, so I don't work a standard 9 till 5. So colleagues may get emails from me at different times, but they're under no obligation to reply to me. But I just make it work, because I get a lot of fulfillment from work. But family is first for me. So, and we're lucky, we work for a university, so there is the time to take time out and have holidays and travel in my own time. But really it's about making sure that I am really organised during the week, and that meetings are scheduled at a time that's not just convenient for me, but for my team who are based overseas on different time zones. And again, just making sure that I'm organised. I think that's the main thing.
Right.
And working for an employer where flexibility and the value that you bring to the workplace is recognised. Achieving that flexibility in the workplace is not difficult, because it's about your productivity. It's about the impact you're making and the results and the work that you're doing.
Well, I completely believe that. I totally agree and believe that the outcome of your hard work is somewhere connected to the management and the people who are working over
Yes.
in the organization, specifically in an educational institute.
Yes.
So talking about UEL's recruitment process, how does UEL ensure that, how does the university or the recruitment team ensure that you are getting the right students or the right talent for the university?
Well, the university works really hard to make sure that, like I said, our information is transparent and available to students. So we spend and invest a lot of time and effort into ensuring that our key messaging through all the channels that we utilise is correct and that students understand it. So the messaging around, yes, our accolades like University of the Year and #1 for student experience. We have just entered the top 40 in rankings in The Guardian for 2026 for the league tables. All of that is really good information. The website is the place to start, and we make sure that we are very active on social media. So I'd encourage any students to find us on Instagram, find us on LinkedIn, and follow the updates from the university so that students can understand the sort of work that we're doing, not just in the classroom, but overall as a university. We have a moral obligation to serve, the environment that where we're based in Newham in East London. So attracting the right student is done in a number of ways. It's through making sure that our brand and reputation is understood in the global markets that we recruit from. So we want to make sure that students in the US, in Sub-Saharan Africa, in South Asia, Southeast Asia and China, when they are making decisions around where they're going to study, that information is available. So our website is the most up to date. But we also work with selected partners, education partners who are experts, for example, in India.
Right.
So when Pine are working with students, and we make sure that our education agents are informed. We hold regular training and information sharing sessions with our agent partners to make sure that information is translated back to the student when you are working to help support students and families make their decisions. So it's through partnerships, really, and transparency that we ensure that we find and identify the right students. And like I said at the very beginning of the podcast, my expectation is from our agent partners that if UEL is not the right destination, then the student understands that. And can make the choice, empower them to make the choice, as long as they've got the context of the information that's available to them. Empower the student to make the choice, because we want to ensure we're admitting and enrolling students who are motivated and want to come to University of East London.
So talking about UEL again, for quite 3 or 4 years, UEL has maintained a very high visa success rate. That's over 98%. I must say over 99% to be precise. So how did you maintain this such an amazing score when most of the universities are struggling with the visa success rate and the asylum seekers and the student queries and problems? How does UEL manage all this?
And I think it's probably the #1 risk for universities in the UK, because the Home Office want to make sure that universities are recruiting genuine students who want to come and study and have a great experience in the UK, and then go off and be successful in their careers. So it's the #1 risk, really, to the Home Office. So UEL has a process that is very robust, and actually probably, what students may discover is that they could get offers to attend another university maybe quicker than they would hear back from UEL. And the reason is because we take the time to make sure that students really understand the course that they have applied for. We make sure there's human intervention, that a phone call is made and that we connect with the student, just to check that they are happy with the application they've made for the course that they've made. And really just have a chat with them about their intentions, like why have they chose that course, what is it they're hoping to achieve, and just understand a little bit about their ambition, because it's important to know that our academics and our professors and our deans want to have motivated students in the lecture room, because that makes for a really great experience for all students then. And, it's really important that our process considers that. So we want to make sure at the very start, at the point of application, that discussion is had with the student. And then we move the student through the journey, which is to make sure that they can pass the PCI interview that's required, that we can issue a CAS efficiently so they can access then their application to apply for their visa. But we have a very supportive process in place for students, which is run in conjunction with our education partners to make sure students are aware of what is required from them, because there's some actions that they need to do, some documents they need to provide, and they need to obviously attend their interview. And it's transparency that makes the difference, and keeping students informed as to what's happening. And we're very proud of our visa refusal rate, because we are one of the biggest universities in the UK recruiting international students. So we recruit one of the highest numbers of international students because it's successful for UEL. Students like the opportunity to come to UEL. And like I said, we have over 160 nationalities represented. And even at that scale, we don't compromise on the quality of what we're doing, because it goes back to the student first approach. We want every student that is successful in gaining a visa. And by the way, the UK is still the easiest visa option
compared to other
compared to the other
countries.
Big destinations. So US, Australia, Canada specifically, the UK is still the easiest route to international education from a visa perspective. But with that comes, it can be open to abuse. And we just want to make sure that we are only supporting those genuine students that have real ambition to make a difference in their lives and come to the UK and have that British education experience that they can then take internationally, either remain in the UK or internationally for their careers. So it's about the transparent process, and making sure that everybody that's involved in supporting the students is educated in what is required to ensure that a visa is successfully granted by UK VI.
True. Well, that's an amazing thing, because most of the universities are still struggling. And now the new BCA metrics that have been introduced by the UK VI, the tolerance level has been reduced from 10% to 5% for the visa refusal. I'm sure UEL is going to sail smoothly with all the BCA metrics.
I mean, we're not concerned, because we're operating well under the risk appetite. But it's not something that we take our eye off at all. It's something that is monitored closely and controlled every day, every week on the runway to each intake. And we have 3 intakes a year, so students can join us in September, in January, and in May. So yes, there's a lot of emphasis on the compliance areas, but we're here to help and support students. And so students who have their documents, have their finances in place, have no need to worry. Like there is support available to help them achieve their visa granted status.
Perfect. A lot of students face challenges in deciding on the university, deciding on the course, deciding on the location. There are multiple factors that influence them, maybe the affordability, maybe the connections or the relationship they have with people staying in that particular location. So what, according to you, is the most important factor that the student should consider when finalizing on a university or a location?
I think the very first thing to focus on is the course. You've got to choose the course that you're passionate about. Our academics and professors want motivated, passionate students who are interested and interesting. So that adds to the experience in the lecture room and on the course throughout the 3 years, if it's undergraduate, or for the 1-year master's course. So I think it really starts with the course offering and the content of the course, to make sure that the modules are really aligned to what it is you want to learn. And the skills that you're hoping to develop on that course, with employability in mind. So I know certainly students, when they're studying at undergraduate level, they may go through some phases of change in terms of the type of roles they want to go and do, or the sector that they want to go and work in, or they may not even know. So it's to focus in on what you're really good at, and what you potentially have a talent for in terms of the course. And then it's destination. And really, I can't emphasize enough, like London is the #1 student city in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the most amount of universities in any city in the world. So the choice is there. But I think it's important to think about not just what you're going to learn, where you're going to spend your days. And London has everything, everything available to it. So our campus is very comfortably in the vibrant area of East London. So if any of the students just Google East London, it's known for its arts and its culture, its food. And we're 15 minutes from central London. And we also have a train station on our campus. It's so accessible, you know that.
Yeah.
And it makes it very easy for students to get around and explore London. And there's so much free information, events, access to culture, that I think that just really adds to students' experience. What we've seen, because UEL has been so successful recruiting and admitting international students for a long time, is that there is pockets and communities in London of students from certain regions around the world. So it's really easy to connect with like-minded people from perhaps the same background as you. Not that that's what you're going to spend your whole time doing at university, because I think part of the joy of university is finding friendships and connecting with people from all around the world, including the home British students. But it enables students in London to find the people that understand them. And I know one of the biggest things that students tell me that they're worried about when they come to the UK is food. You know, am I going to get the food that I like? Am I going to be able to find the ingredients that I want in the supermarket? Can I find the restaurants that I want to? And the answer is yes to all of it. You know, London really does have it all. And I think what I want to emphasize when students are thinking about their choices is be very careful about the institution that you apply to, because what has happened over the last couple of years in the UK, because London is the #1 student city, what has happened is that universities in the Midlands, in the north of England, have opened up what we refer to as branch campuses in London. So they are office blocks that have the university name on them. They are teaching the university's programs, but it's not the full university campus experience. And there's a real difference for a student's experience if they come to a campus like UEL that has all of the faculties on our campus. All our schools are there. All our professional services are there. Our accommodation is on campus. So we're one of the only universities in London with the real estate that has accommodation on the campus. So if students choose to live locally, they can. And we also have the transport link. So there's a real difference between the full offering of UEL versus a university that is has just opened up just to be in London. And there's also a lot of what I call private providers. So a lot of private institutions who are not public institutions that are not held to the same account as public institutions like UEL. So I'd really make sure that students look into their research and talk to their advisors around some of the shortlists that they've come up with around where they want to study. So start with the programme. Look at the location, and you know, UEL is an affordable, accessible, London-based university, and I would really encourage students to do their research on that basis.
And I must say, the Dockland campus is just amazing.
It's so beautiful, isn't it?
It's so beautiful. It's so Instagram friendly. You can just click pictures all day.
It is.
And Gen Z, I mean, it's a Gen Z friendly campus, I must say.
Yes.
And I mean, the London City Airport right across the river, and then you have the planes taking off, landing throughout the day.
We do.
And the sunset and the sunrise.
Yeah, and just in the distance, we've got Canary Wharf
on the riverfront.
Yes.
It's just amazing.
Yes.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, students have a great experience, and it's a lovely environment to learn in and relax in, whether you live on campus or whether you travel in. And stay in a private accommodation locally. It is a wonderful experience. That's why I'm so thrilled to work for UEL. I believe in our university and I believe in our programs. And I believe we are the right choice for the majority of students who have an ambition to study a course that we offer, that we would be the destination of choice, particularly in London.
Thank you so much for talking about University of East London, the education, about your career. So the next part of the podcast that we have is the rapid fire round.
Okay.
So whatever comes to your mind, just say that.
Okay.
So the first question is, favorite part of being located in London?
It's London. It's the capital. I live with my partner there, and I love music and the arts and culture. And so in my spare time, that's where you'll find me, either at music gigs or at theatre or dining out. I'm a massive foodie as well. So just having access to everything that the capital has to offer on my doorstep is my favourite thing about being in the city.
Oh, the next question is the most challenging aspect of managing a globally dispersed team.
The challenge is probably the time zones. So, sometimes, I've got teams based all over the world, and sometimes things may happen in the UK in the afternoon, but it's already 9-10 o'clock at night somewhere else. And the joy of being in the team that I'm in and the team I've developed is that regardless of what time or day it is, my team are so responsive because their job is to ensure the students get the right advice and guidance and get to enrol at university in London. So we have a great culture within our team, which is collaborative and responsive. But the challenge would probably be our time zones.
Time zones.
Yes.
So digital or in-person recruitment events, what would you prefer?
Digital or in person? I believe hybrid. I'm going to say that because I'm a believer in looking people in the eyes and meeting people face to face. There's nothing that can replace that. But I also recognize that that's not available to everybody to make the journey. We host events all over the world, but it's not always available to students to be able to travel. So I think the ability to hold in-person events where we get to talk to students directly and have the ability for those that can't join us to dial in online would be the compromise.
Perfect. And the next question is best advice you've received about leadership.
I think the best advice I've received about leadership is to make sure that you are managing people in a way that you recognize that they are humans. I think it's really important to recognize we're all here to do a job. And I don't believe anybody gets up in the morning and thinks, I'm just going to do a bad job today.
True.
And I think the big thing around leadership is to create the team culture of we're in this together. This is our objective. Give people the skills and the tools to do the job, but then give them the parameters to work within. So ensure they've got some freedom to operate. And I think that's really, really important when it comes to achieving and being productive.
True. True. And the next question is your favorite song.
My favorite song. My favorite song at the moment is from a UK artist called Ray. She's fabulous. If any of the students want to check her out, she's a great singer, and her new song is called "Where Is My Husband."
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun song. Yeah.
And what would have you been had you not been a recruiter, a consultant, or in the education sector?
Well, somebody asked me this once, and the truth is, if I wasn't a consultant or in recruitment, I would have loved to have been an international DJ.
Wow.
Because my passion is music, and I'm in awe of people who can, entertain hundreds of thousands of people. So yeah, in my head, an aspiring DJ, but never had the opportunity to.
Well, you have got the looks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So thank you so much once again, Stephanie, for
Prateek,
joining
thank
us for
you.
this discussion. I'm sure the students and the working professionals who are watching this particular podcast are going to make the most of it.
Yes.
So before we depart, there should be one message that you should be giving out to the audience.
Yes, I mean, students specifically, is be true to yourself. I think that's really important. Don't follow the crowd. There's a lot of information out there, either from your friends at school or college, or on the internet, on social media. Is be true to yourself. What is it you're great at? What will the world pay you to do eventually? And what is it you want out of your experience at university? And I think if you have the support of your family and your wider network, is make the choice that is best for you, and really have courage and be brave. So if what's great for you doesn't fit into the majority or the crowd, but you believe it's the right thing, then be brave and make that choice with considered research, and make sure that you have the right counselling and support around you, to enable you to make the decision that is best for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much once again for joining us.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
You're always welcome. And University of East London is accepting applications for January intake. The link is in the bio for the list of courses which are available. If you're planning to apply, you don't have enough time, apply it right now. Call us on 1-800-309-PINE. That's 1-800-309-7463. Okay. Thank you so much once again,
Wonderful.
Stephanie.
Thank you.
पढ़ाई मतलब पाइन।